Hello, I'm Tanya Beckett. Police will have begun a new search on Tuesday at a reservoir close to where the British toddler Madeleine McCann disappeared during a holiday in Portugal 16 years ago. Officials are hoping to find evidence linking the main suspect, a German sex offender, to the case. He was living in the resort of Praia da Luz at the time. Daniel Sanford reports now from the Algarve.
Already in position yesterday and ready to start work this morning, tents and equipment for searching at a dam 3/4 of an hour's drive from where Madeleine McCann went missing 16 years ago. She disappeared in 2007, a few days before her 4th birthday. Despite her case being one of the most high-profile missing person cases ever, no one has ever been charged in connection with her disappearance. Her parents, Kate and Jerry McCann, have always hoped they would find their daughter alive. But German prosecutors who are leading this investigation are treating it as a murder inquiry. Their suspect, Christian Brueckner, is currently serving 7 years in prison for the rape of a woman in the same area of Portugal in 2005. He's never been charged over Madeleine McCann's disappearance and has denied any involvement. But the German state prosecutor said there was growing evidence connecting him to the case, including mobile phone records. Madeleine McCann vanished from flat G5A at the Ocean Club in Praia da Luz on the 3rd of May 2007, as her parents were in a restaurant a few yards away. But amid intense media scrutiny, no trace of her was found. In 2008, a private search of the same reservoir, funded by a Portuguese lawyer, found nothing that proved relevant to the case. Divers said there was almost no visibility, but police will search at the dam again, starting today. The last significant search in this inquiry was 9 years ago and was led by British police as part of an investigation that cost more than £10 million. Madeleine McCann's 20th birthday was this month. On the 16th anniversary of her disappearance, her parents wrote, "The police investigation continues and we await a breakthrough." Daniel Sanford, BBC News, in the Algarve.
Live now to Navtesh Johal, who is at the Barajam do Arade reservoir, where police will begin a new search today in the Madeleine McCann case. What can you tell us, Navtesh?
Well, we're standing, as you say, just by the Arade Dam. You can see behind me a police vehicle, a police boat. As you say, divers have been seen on the water, entering the water this morning, and a police motorboat has also been seen on the water today as well. That was just about an hour or so ago. Now, where we are, this area is about 30 miles away from Praia da Luz, where Madeleine McCann disappeared in 2007. And we're expecting official confirmation imminently from German police that they're beginning their search here today. That should be coming to us, we hope, in the next few minutes or so. And the reason why they're here is because they say that Christian Brueckner, who has been named as the official suspect last year by Portuguese authorities into the disappearance of Madeleine McCann, visited this area around the time when she disappeared. Now, Christian Brueckner is a German national currently serving a prison sentence in Germany over the rape of a 72-year-old woman in 2005 in Praia da Luz, the same area from where Madeleine went missing, although he has denied any involvement in Madeleine's disappearance and has not been formally charged over her disappearance either. Now, local media have reported that an area of the reservoir's peninsula, just over a mile long, was sealed off yesterday. They say that the search is going to begin today and go into tomorrow, and that around 20 police officers have been assigned to that search. And as we were hearing there a moment ago, this dam has been searched in connection to Madeleine's disappearance before. Just about a year or so after she went missing, a private Portuguese lawyer paid for specialist divers to search the area. That investigation came to nothing. But the hope is that this time round there may be some answers found which can unlock the question over one of the most high-profile missing person cases ever.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us, and we'll keep you up to date from the lake, obviously, as we get further details. Thank you very much, Navtesh. Live now to Jim Gamble, who's a former police officer who helped with the Madeleine McCann investigation. Navtesh, what do you believe that the circumstances are surrounding this renewed search?
Well, I mean, I think the key is that it's being led by the German police and facilitated by the Portuguese. The German authorities have been absolutely adamant that they believe they have the right person in custody, that their suspect is the right person. They've also gone further to state that they believe that Madeleine has died, Madeleine was killed, and that she was killed in Portugal. So given that they are pursuing those lines of inquiry in such a positive and direct way, I would make the assumption that this is going to be a very deliberate, direct and focused search on the basis of their fresh analysis of information that previously existed, but also I would like to think on new lines of inquiry that they've been able to expose as their investigation has continued at pace.
So you believe they may have uncovered evidence that links him to the lake, because he was previously linked to the lake, wasn't he?
Well, he was previously linked to the lake. I think the reservoir itself in 2008 was searched, but not searched in the way that it's being searched today. Given that the German police have been very positive about the suspect and indeed about the potential murder of Madeleine, I think that they have more information than they're sharing with the public. That is clear, in fact. So ultimately, they will be trying to corroborate issues that they already hypothesize about, that they think have happened. So this is a positive step forward. The Germans, I think, will be extremely methodical in their approach to this. And as the search unfolds over the coming days, I hope that they're in a position to share more information with the public, but only if that doesn't damage their ongoing investigation.
Jim, you said that your feeling is that the German police have uncovered something further. So we're now going to go, if you can just hang on, we'll go to Berlin, and Damien McGuinness has some details on that for us. Damien, what can you tell us?
Yeah, that's right. I've just been on the phone to Hans Christian Wolters, who is the state prosecutor in the region of Braunschweig. That's nearby where Christian Brueckner is serving a 7-year prison sentence for a separate crime. And Mr. Wolters confirmed to me that this search in Portugal at the reservoir and the surrounding area is indeed being led and was requested by German officials, and that they were cooperating with Portuguese police in Portugal in the reservoir because of legal restrictions for what the Germans can do abroad, and that British police officers would also be there. Mr. Wolters declined to give any information, though, about any details about the background of their search and why they pinpointed this particular area. And I think that's, as you were just both discussing just now, because the German officials are very keen to do this properly. There have been so many, over the years, so many false flags and conspiracy theories and all sorts of theories that have led to misleading headlines, which of course have been so painful for the McCann family. That's one reason why German police are very keen to be very careful about what information they release. So I think until anything concrete is or is not found in the reservoir or the surrounding area, I think it's unlikely we're going to find anything more. But what we do know, and that is new, is that definitely this search it's now been officially confirmed to me, this search is in fact being led by the German officials, and it is connected to the investigation into a connection between Christian Brueckner, the prime suspect in the Madeleine McCann disappearance case, and her disappearance. So I think that is a big step forward, because we now know this is a part of the official investigation and not something new or something different. It is a part of this main investigation carried out by the Germans into allegations that Christian Brueckner may have been behind the disappearance of Madeleine McCann. Important, though, of course, quickly to clarify, Christian Brueckner maintains his innocence and says that while he's guilty of other crimes and he's a convicted sex offender, he says he has nothing to do with the disappearance of Madeleine McCann.
Although the German police have long had him in their sights in relation to this case, have they not?
That's right. Since 2020, there was a big turnaround when Hans Christian Wolters, that state prosecutor that I just talked to earlier today, announced that they have a prime suspect. And what we've seen over the last few years is a number of, firstly convictions against this man, Mr. Brueckner, but also there have been a number of other allegations and charges. Now, some of those have since been dismissed by a court because of a legal jurisdiction question. Now, that was something that happened last month rather. So it's a very complicated case because you're talking about lots and lots of different allegations. Some of them are turned into charges, some of them haven't. But that is all separate to the Madeleine McCann case. And I think that's why this is a very complicated situation, very complicated case. And again, another reason why German officials are so keen to keep the communication lines clear and transparent and to say what they know when, as soon as they know something for definite. So I think that's the next thing to look out for.
Thank you very much indeed. Let's now return to Jim Gamble, who is the former police officer who helped with the Madeleine McCann investigation. So what Damien seemed to be suggesting there is that the German police have uncovered something, they're not revealing exactly what, because they are deeply concerned about the speculation that has surrounded this case.
Well, I think they're right to be concerned about speculation. I think they'll be more concerned about, you know, the evidential standards that they will have to meet if they do find something. I mean, the disappearance of Madeleine McCann has been typified by bungled beginnings of investigations, not least the golden hour stage of the investigation in Portugal. So I'm sure that every law enforcement agency that comes to this case does so now with a degree of pause for thought about what people will read into what they're doing, and ensuring that they don't create a technicality that later allows someone to walk. I think the really interesting thing here is, though, that the German prosecutor, you know, is saying, well, we can't say anything until we know something. And that is classic. That is the classic law enforcement position, and it is the classic position from German authorities that I would expect. That is why it is all the more interesting that the same German prosecutor has been so adamant that Madeleine is dead, and indeed so positive that they have the right suspect. So if you take that into consideration, that reinforces my view that they do have more information than they're sharing, and they're right not to share it, because if they later find something or someone comes forward, corroborating what they already know will be a key aspect in how they take this case forward. So I think we just simply now have to give them space and time, and all of us need to think about the impact. No matter what happens, whether it's an anniversary or an event like this, it revisits this on the parents. But those of us that are parents or grandparents know that it doesn't take an event. Every day these parents will get up carrying the burden, you know, of Madeleine being missing and not knowing what has happened. And, you know, sometimes what I'd really like to see from the wider public is those people who remain silent supporting the parents in the face of those people who choose to bully and malign them online and make the situation worse for them. It costs nothing to be kind. It costs nothing to wait and see and wait for the outcome of this new lead in the German investigation.
And hope that it yields something conclusive. Jim, thank you so much. Jim Gamble there. Let's now go to Peter Blexley, who's a former Scotland Yard detective. Peter, our correspondent in Berlin was saying that this investigation of the reservoir is happening at the behest of the German police. How difficult is it to coordinate that type of operation in another country?
Well, fortunately, we live in the age of the shrunken world, and there's far more cooperation these days between law enforcement than there was way back when I joined the police. Cross-border operations are very much a thing because criminality has no borders, and law enforcement has awoken to this, and consequently cooperation between not only the police forces but the judiciary and lawyers is now very much a thing of 2023, and that's shown clearly in this operation today.
What do you make of the fact that we've heard that this search will go on for 2 days, specifically 2 days? This is a very large area, but presumably they've restricted themselves to a part of the reservoir, but to put a time limit on it like that?
Well, I think this clearly shows that if such a search were happening in the UK today, we would hear the police saying this is an intelligence-led operation. And I think that would very much apply today because I'm very familiar with Silvish. I have the great pleasure of having a friend who lives out there. And so I've been there a number of times. And this reservoir is vast, as is the surrounding area. So to bring this search down to such a narrow time frame tells me that they have specifics that they're looking for and a specific area in which to search. Otherwise, people could quite reasonably speculate that it was almost a needle in a haystack type job, and it would appear to be anything but that today.
We've been talking about the fact that this is an extremely high-profile case. It's risky, isn't it, to engage in an operation like this unless you're fairly sure you're going to find something?
Well, if we just rewind to 2014, we know that a Metropolitan Police-led search operation, much closer to Praia da Luz, of course, revealed nothing, as far as we're told. So sometimes you just have to take a gamble as a detective. You have to say, well, this is where everything points us to, so of course we're quite naturally going to go and search it. I sincerely hope for everyone who has any concern or interest or desire to see this case resolved that there is evidence found, because as the German prosecutor a couple of years ago was very bullish in his attitude of almost saying words to the effect of, we've got our man, but we just can't prove it yet. Well, perhaps this might be an occasion when specific evidence is gathered, which will go some way towards forming a case, which would lead them to putting him in on trial and allowing a jury to come to some sort of verdict. But we will have to wait and see. I sincerely hope that this is not yet another false dawn.
Peter Blexley, thank you very much indeed.